we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all. And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
We back.
And today we're going to do a retrospective of Lupe Fiasco's The Cool. It's an album that he put out in 2007 as his second debut album. I guess not second debut album, but second album. As a part of Atlantic Records. That album was very impactful at the time. It is now an album that is 18 years old. And so we want to talk about a few things: the prophetic and timelessness of the album, and what we think he would have changed if he were making the album today. And then how did we feel back then, back in 2007? I keep wanting to say 2027, but that's in the future, where this album belongs. And and so let's start there with it being a prophetic album that is also timeless. With that regard, I think one of the songs that pops out to me the most is Little Weapon.
Yeah, same for me. I think he was very vocal in speaking about the changing landscape of guns and how it was affecting youth. And he definitely took it from all different perspectives, whether it's war, school shootings, and then the video game industry and just kind of like the mental aspects of it. I don't think he, was saying, oh, video games make you inherently more violent or whatever. But I think in the grand scheme of what Little Weapon was, it gave a scary kind of insight to where we were headed.
I think it gave us insight to where we were at the time. Especially being in war with Iraq.
Yeah.
And being in the Afghanistan conflict as well. Just the whole entire being at war with the Middle East again within U.S. history. And then understanding how like some of those themes or some of those actions of adults radicalize young people.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of scary, you know what I'm saying, to like how repeated this history is, whether it's, things going on in Sudan, whether it's like all the things going on in Gaza. There's so many kind of similarities to that first verse. And even the second verse, like the hauntingness of the school shooting aspect, but how it kind of morphed from the kid not wanting to be bullied to basically adults just kind of having mental breakdowns or whatever's kind of going on. Is a little haunting. This album can get haunting sometimes when I listen to it nowadays.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know that. Didn't leave a transition there for you.
Like as soon as I picked it up, he's like, "Let me finish this statement." With that hauntingness, I believe that there is a Lupe Fiasco that is underneath all of those statements that he wanted to, like, I think we'll get into this a little bit later, how this album is a testament to the, the argument that he was having in real time with the record label. Mm-hmm. But it's the argumentation that he makes for the entire world. It's his political stances. It is his view of the of the world and perspective on things that are socio-political that stand out as timeless on this album. And he has not changed the person that he is. In fact, he has been more vocal over time for these same reasons. And he just put it into a song. And I think ultimately that just kind of leads to the other theme on the other song, Streets on Fire, where he gets into what if there's a global pandemic and people are wilding out. And then, some 12 years later, it comes, it's reality.
It is such a reality. And the crazy part about it is I love how he illustrates the blame game that people kind of went to, whether it's from China, it's from bats. These people did it. Is if you don't get a vaccination, this is why it's lasting longer. And it's like all of those elements exist within Streets on Fire, because it's like, well, now these people are gone, and like what happened to these people? Well, they can never decide and actually come together to make a decision on how to like protect and be community. It was just a bunch of, well, it's your fault, which leads to extinction, if you will.
I think it leads to what we are experiencing right now, where like we'll never get rid of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
It's just going to be around, and we had an opportunity that we missed, and that's also his point in real time. He was a staunch advocate for people getting vaccinated. He helped Fauci's team to put out and dampen down vaccine misinformation and medical misinformation around COVID. And, many years prior to this incident happening in our world, he said exactly how we would handle it on Streets on Fire.
There's more in kind of like this propheticness of the industry, and I think it gives us excellent springboard to the next part of the conversation. But to start it, like Dumb It Down and Put You On Game gave to me a collective understanding of what the industry wants to do to artists, and how the artists fight on Dumb It Down, and then how the artists are played on Put You On the Game, or Put You On Game, by the glitz and the glamour of an advance, a chain, or all of these different things, and not understanding that it's just a part of the game that they want to play to get the most out of you, money wise, at least.
Yeah, I also think about what we talked about in pre-production, just kind of discussing the dynamic between him and the label. This album was specifically a giant middle finger to the label in a lot of ways, because they were asking him to dumb it down ultimately. And we talked about this at length on our lyrical breakdown of the Cool, but we also talked about this on our tier list, which you can go watch on our YouTube channel, and we'll pop that down in the description. I think what we got to is that there's this element to the major labels where they want you to not only like succumb to this popular music, but they also want to milk the songs that you make for as much value as they possibly can by having you purchase their songwriters, their producers, their songs that they have purchased through these deals. And your own creativity is not as valuable to them. In fact, you would be more likely to recoup your advance. You're more likely to pay your debts off. You're more likely to not be in servitude to your master if you made your own music. You're more likely to be in servitude to the master if you made your own Sorry, if you didn't make your own music.
Yeah. And it was just perfectly illustrated, man. Like it's crazy how his label fights just went the way they went, though, right? I was kind of surprised that the label didn't allow the success of this album to kind of inform, like, hey, you have an understanding of something. Mm-hmm. It's like I don't get that. Like, you want to make money and more money. Why does, like, I think the arrogance of it has to be us, it has to be the thing that we did is really weird.
I think it's more than arrogance. I think it's greed. Mm-hmm. Primarily, the arrogance comes in where we, had the discussion in the last pod about Ebro and Ebro in the Morning being departing from Hot 97. The major label in Lupe's situation equals Media Co. in their situation.
Yeah.
And their arrogance comes in when they want to be a part of the culture, but they're not of the culture. And they have that arrogance connected to all the greed.
Yeah.
So they're trying to milk it for they want to own more of the record as much as they possibly can when they have a songwriter in front of their face that has talent. And they want to be all up in the videos and,
Yeah. That's wild.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's kind of what they want to do.
But I don't know. I guess I'm still having trouble kind of understanding why their greed wouldn't want them like, oh, that made money.
They're short-sighted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a short-term earnings game.
Yeah.
Based off of most of these major labels, especially at the time, had not yet consolidated, but they were consolidating into the big four. Especially when streaming came about, and they wanted to be sort of everything to the artists, but they couldn't be that.
So with that in mind, like today, how do you think he would? What do you think he would have done differently if he were making a Cool today?
I think he would have changed the presentation of it. And by the presentation, I mean he would have done fewer songs. Yeah. He would have thought about the mix maybe a little bit differently, because if you compare things from 2007, granted the technology is different, but if you compare them, the sound is a lot more crisp and clean compared to this sound. Not to say that this sounds bad. Like, please understand that I'm not saying that this album is terrible, but there's some little, like, it's sort of like when you draw a picture and you still have like your pencil marks left over. There's a few of those pencil marks still there. That's kind of what I'm saying.
I think he would have been more intentional with the features, like, because he had at that point in time a lot of industry, or not industry connects, but he had a lot more street connects in terms of like some of the artists that he's cool with that he's always had throughout. So I think there might have been, or should have been, like a Bun B appearance, Slim Thug, Trader True, Big Crit. Like, I think people that he's done songs with and has been known to like be cool with would have been on there. Maybe even like at that point a Royce feature. I think there might have been like a Royce feature, or and also maybe a couple more Soundtrack songs, because Soundtrack did a majority of the album, but I think because of how him and Soundtrack hardly ever miss, I think he would have leaned in a little bit more to getting more out of that relationship.
I think you also said that the album would be more conceptual.
Yeah, he would have taken it to a whole nother level, because he spent so much time before the album dropped, like, giving us the three, whether it's The Game, Michael Young, and The Streets, right? Like, Kadeem Hardison is The Game, or is Michael Young. One of the two. Like there was a lot of money put into what the concept was supposed to be, and then the label got their hands in it, and we got 8 songs that technically don't really fit within that trinity, right? So getting them out of the way, I think he would have, like, knowing Lupe, he probably would have had like a little anime, a short, or like some sort of documentary, or something that would have really allowed him to make this even more potent. Like you said, less songs would have definitely been something he did.
Yeah, and he would have emphasized that conceptualism by having, he did have 3 different acts in the record, but I think he would have used the way that he breaks the fourth wall to emphasize those acts throughout the record as well. Well, our final piece, what was the impact for you in 2007?
I've said this a lot of times, but anytime we mention Lupe is my GOAT, my lyrical, like,
lyrical miracle, spiritual,
metaphysical. But it changed everything for me. It was the first concept album that I actually got. I had probably listened to other concept albums before, but this was the first one that I like picked up on all the different things. It is the first time that I was dissecting lyrics. Like, because the majority of the time, like, if I didn't get it, I just didn't get it. But this album made me actually start seeing the similes, the metaphors, and everything that was being used within rap, and it opened a new door for me for being able to use those things myself, poetically. And most notoriously, like, it just gave me the idea that I can write about my condition while not trying to be a part of it, while not trying to get caught up by the game or caught up by these things that are glitz and glamour, but all that glitters ain't gold. Yeah,
for me, it was focusing on a resurgence of sort of backpack rap, so to speak, because we have Kanye's debut album, which was a couple years before, and we have the overlap of Touch the Sky on Food and Liquor, and then with the Cool, I think it was just a continuance of the same sort of Lupe brand in a second album, where it's sort of like, do you have your sophomore slump, so to speak? For me, it was solidifying that, yes, you can be this type of artist, and hip hop can continue to thrive in a new age, in a new era of streaming, of LimeWire downloads, and the blogs.
Oh man, the blog era was something different, man. I think that's also one of the things I miss, because this was one of those albums that carried to me the blog era, because it was one of the things that I'm searching out all this different information about it. Like, I'm watching every video that comes out, all these behind the scenes, like of the photo shoot for the album, listening to Lupe interviews, listening to different conversations, and like, because I've been so enthralled by Food and Liquor the year prior, that now I'm like, oh, what's coming next, right? I do have a question for you as we like close out. So the Cool does, I think, a lot to kind of show what can happen in regards to the industry, and has shown where, like, kind of like where we are today. Do you think this is something that you would like recommend to younger artists to listen to? Because we have had a slew of what I call them the Rico rappers that just continuously tell their life on these records and then get caught up with them, or are caught up by whatever they're caught up by wanting to be in the streets still. Would this be something you would give to them, or would you do something else?
Yes, I would give this to them, and I would do you one better. I would have them go curate more of the albums that they haven't heard from the past. So I would have them like, so for example, I was early in absorbing hip hop history around 2007. So this is prior to me getting into college radio, where I did a hip hop show with DJ EO. That was a predecessor. The show existed prior to, and other DJs within the system had hosted that show before. And so my experience, or my palette for hip hop, was everything that I saw on music video shows and MTV and BET and all these other things. And so it was very, it was pop driven, but also driven by the things that were important to the older people in my life around me, not really based off of my own curation. And so there's a long-winded answer to say that I would sit them in a room where they have access to as much hip-hop music as possible. And I would ask them to pick one of those CDs, or like browse through the folder. And every time you hear a song that you like, take it and put it in your own folder and start curating your own like catalog of music that you enjoy. That way, you have a more diverse point of view. You don't do what I did in 2007, which is name your album it was written. Sorry, Nas. And when you do get into writing your more mature albums, like I did in 2010. You have a way to avoid those traps and landmines of stuff that people have already done.
I respect it, Sensei TJ, because that there was some like, I like the aspect of giving the discovery and the exploration to younger artists that would not have had that. Like, if you don't have it, you only go, and radio is your only connection. Radio don't change. Yeah,
and EO was he's maybe a year or so older than me, but he was wise enough at the moment to notice that, like, as I was going through as a songwriter and creating music, he encouraged me to go listen to other things. Not necessarily listen to other genres, but he did encourage me to listen to other rap music in order to hone my craft. And that was something that type of mentorship doesn't exist, to my knowledge, with younger artists today.
Right. But yeah, this is an amazing album. Shout out to 18 years of the Cool. I can't wait to see if he does something for the 20-year anniversary. I think he should. And I think it's going to be very, very pivotal. Shout out to Lupe. Shout out to the Cool. Shout out to each and every one of you in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next piece and in the new year. A 1 and a 2. And peace.